If you've ever looked through the lens of a camera, you know that it only shows a small part of a very big picture. The picture can be blurry or crystal clear depending on whether you're focusing the lens or not. Cameras allow us to look at the world through a narrow perspective, focusing on one thing at a time. Everyone has busy lives and it can be hard to slow down enough to pay attention to little things, for example, like how the sunlight is reflecting off a bottle in your bedroom. For artists, though, the little things are always obvious. We just see them differently than most people do. I've been artistically inclined since I was 2 years old and discovered blue finger paint. Now obviously I'm a little bit older and I've expanded my choice in media, but I've noticed how my perspective varies from that in those around me. For me, the world isn't one big picture, but a collection of unique little pictures. I notice things that other people don't, and I find beauty in obscure, unconventional places. Today, I'm going to explain how artists view the world by discussing curiosity, inspiration, and differences in eye scanning patterns. We'll start with exploring the concept of curiosity and how it affects an artist's perspective. While painting and drawing are skills that can be practiced and learned, curiosity is something that everyone is born with. In a 2019 online article, Ingrid Christensen writes about training our eyes to see like an artist. One thing she mentions is that artists tend to view their surroundings with the curiosity of a child. As human beings, we're all naturally wired with the internal desire to make sense of our surroundings and give everything a name. I'm going to refer to this photo here. If I asked you to describe what's in this photo, you'd probably tell me what the objects are and where they're placed in the picture. Your eyes move from one thing to the next, and your brain labels the objects. Now let's say you're not allowed to name anything. How would you describe the photo? That's how an artist's brain works. Rather than directly identifying what we see, artists focus on things like shape and color and texture and lines. We see beauty in everything because our minds can process objects like we're seeing them for the first time. We've gone over the curiosity of an artist's perspective, but we can expand that by discussing how artists look for inspiration. Artists see even the most boring objects as opportunities for inspiration. Every artist has a craft, whether it's writing or music or photography or painting. In order to produce art, artists have to be inspired. Inspiration could come from other people's work, nature, or a conversation that you had with somebody. Usually, ideas don't drop out of nowhere, but it's definitely possible. Because artists are constantly on the hunt for inspiration, sometimes details spark an interest in something that isn't usually outstanding. Personally, I have found inspiration in some very odd places, including dreams, carpet patterns, or random notes that I had written down in the app on my phone. Artists look at the world in a way that magnifies everything. Nothing is as simple as a label. Almost anything can be inspiration for something else. For example, tree branches can be arms reaching for each other. A lake can be the surface of a distorted mirror. An artist's mind takes things and makes connections between them that others would not usually group together. After talking about curiosity and inspiration, it's time to go over different eye scanning patterns. Sometimes there is an actual brain-related difference in how artists and non-artists view the world. Sadie Dinkfelder did a 2010 cover story for the American Psychological Association, and in her article, she includes a few studies done by different professors. One of those professors, Stein Vogt, claims that an artist's special perspective can actually be linked to the patterns in which their eyes scan the object. These patterns look different in artists than they do in non-artists. And then I'm going to refer back to this photo. According to Vogt, as artists, our eyes would scan the whole picture, breaking things down into concepts like color and lines. In contrast, non-artists focus on specific objects and turn those images into concepts. This proves that though perspective can vary due to creativity levels, it can also be a result from how our eyes literally see things. To close, let's review. We have now covered how curiosity, inspiration, and patterns of eye scanning can all give artists a unique lens to view the world through. As an artist, my perspective of the world is something that I value a lot. Sometimes it's fun to see things differently and appreciate facets of life that other people tend to overlook. That in itself is inspiring because considering the state of the world today, it's important to find a silver lining wherever you can. I hope you've gained some knowledge about how artists see things. Maybe you've even learned ways you can train your eyes to see like an artist. Inspiration is never short in supply when you see beauty in everything.
Awesome.